Hi, everyone. Welcome in. I am so happy to be here on this cold. You see me all bundled up. It is getting cold again in Florida. I don't know, but I'm happy that you are here. And I hope that some of you are going to be joining live. So if you are live, let me know in the comments. Of course, say hello. And if you're catching this on the replay, just say hello in the replay or just say hi. All right. So as we're doing that, just want to make sure, yes, we are live here and that I can see your comments as you're coming in. Love, love, love this. Let's put this on do not disturb so I don't get messages as I am chatting with you. All right, let's see who's on. Pam is here. Let's see some other people that I can't see on here. All right, so let me know in the comments. Say hello. So you've seen me posting. If you follow me, you've seen me posting. Even earlier today, I posted something about falling, right? And the reason that I've been talking about this a lot is because the topic just keeps coming up in conversation. And it's almost like the universe is like, Catherine, you just have to continue talking about this topic. Okay. And so, of course, when I think of falling and I think of over 55 women or women over 50, I always think back to my grandmother. Of course, you know that I've mentioned before to you that she fell. She had a very bad fall coming off of the doctor's table and she fractured her femur. And like that was the first time that I think any of the ladies in our family had actually broken something, believe it or not. So it was like kind of bizarre to think about it at the time. Um, and then, so fast forward years later, I go to New York and it's winter time and we're walking and taking a walk with my niece. And of course, you know, if you've ever taken a walk, especially on Long Island in the fall, there's a lot of like little debris, little branches, little things, whatever. So I'm walking down the street with my niece and my niece's mom, actually my two nieces, because one was in a stroller with her mom, and then the other one was walking, you know, and her mom was also along, right? So I'm walking along, and somehow or another, I'm wearing these nice, cute little boots, and the heel just gives, right? Like I kind of go like this with my foot, and it happened so fast. Next thing I know, I like literally I went down. I did like a body roll, went down. A stop, drop, and roll is what it looked like. I hope. Um, and then next thing you know, because I closed my eyes. Next thing you know, I open my eyes and I'm like, all I see is the sky, and my niece is like, what's the matter with her? So I was, first of all, extremely embarrassed, right? And then I was just hoping that nothing was broken. And nothing was broken. So, of course, I got up and I'm like, oh, I looked at my knee. I had like a cut. I was like, okay, whatever. But like, has that ever happened to you? Right? Where you're like just walking normal, maybe you're chatting with a friend, maybe you're on your phone, maybe you're walking your dog, whatever, just like a normal thing that you do all the time. And then maybe you tripped, maybe you stumbled, right? And then you fall, right? So what's the first thing that you do? You look around to see if anyone saw you, right? That's the first thing. And unfortunately for me, I had people with me, right? So it was really embarrassing because I knew that they saw that I fell, right? And of course, my niece, you know, she's like, "What's wrong with her?" And then the my other two, the moms are like laughing. They think it's funny. They thought like, and I'm like, this is not funny. Like I literally could have broken something. Of course, they're much younger than me, so that's besides the point. But I was just like, thank goodness that I'm okay, right? And the first thing that we do is just get up, right? Because you're like, I'm fine, I'm fine. So that whole story kind of popped up in my head as I was thinking about falling and did that ever happen to me? And I'm like, yeah, I did. So today we're talking about three myths, okay, about falling that you need to know because falling isn't like just a clumsy moment, right? It's a longevity thing, right? It's an independence thing, and it's definitely a confidence kind of conversation. Okay, so that's what we're going to be talking about today. And it's super important that you do listen to what I'm saying because these are all things that, again, have come up in conversations with specifically women over 55, specifically women actually in their 70s and 80s. Okay, so you may not be there yet. You may think that this is something that you don't have to address right now, but I'm telling you that falling can happen at any point in your life. So listen up. All right. So, as I mentioned, nothing thankfully happened to me. Right? I was okay. I had a cut on my foot. I mean, on my knee, and I was a little sore, but luckily I didn't like face plant. Luckily I didn't break anything, right? And but the thing that I did do that most of you do is I just jumped up quickly and I brushed off and I laughed it off and I'm like, I'm fine, I'm okay. But like in the back of my mind and later on I was like, okay, but what if I wasn't okay, right? And that's the part that got me worried because here I am surrounded by people and yet they thought it was funny, they thought it was a joke, whatever it was, but to me it was serious, right? And what if something had happened? What if I couldn't get up? What if I needed help? What if I was alone, right? In this case, I had people, but literally, if I had gone on the walk by myself, I would just be in the middle of the road because, a lot of the streets on Long Island don't have any sidewalks, right? So I just would have been there. Um, and so that's where I want us to kind of take this conversation today. So I do see, oh, my mom is on. Hey, mom. So she knows the story very well because I was so angry when I got back to the house and she was there. And I was like, can you believe this happened to me? And nobody helped me. So myth number one is going to be falling is just part of getting older. Okay, this is a very, very common one. I've heard it a million times, right? This is the biggest lie. Okay, it's the biggest lie that you've ever been told. Yes, falls are more common as we age, right? That is true. That's a truth there. But it's not like because you're old, it's inevitable that you're going to fall. No, that is not true. Okay, so most falls happen because of the things that we can actually improve. Okay, so balance is something that you can improve. Does balance decrease as you get older? Yes, because you stop doing the things that you need to be doing to keep your balance up to par, right? To keep your balance strong. Okay, leg strength. Yes, that's something that we can improve on. Again, with age, right? If you're not doing things to strengthen your legs, then yes, your legs are going to be weak, right? Core strength, which is above everything else, right? It's the thing that's keeping you standing up, definitely can be improved. Reaction time, right? That's also something that can be improved. Do all of these things kind of decrease with age? Yes, because we don't do anything about it. Once you go into like full retirement mode and you're like, I don't have to work, I don't have to do this because I'm older now, that's when you start shutting down because everything that you do is less, right? You're not working towards those things anymore. And definitely confidence, right? Confidence in movement and moving. Okay, so these are all things that can be improved. It just takes you to do the things to improve them, okay? And this is why I focus so much on functional strength, okay? Functional strength is like the strength that you need for everyday things, right? Getting up from a chair, stepping over things, moving literal, like moving sideways. A lot of you have difficulty with that, right? Getting down to the floor and then getting back up. These are all things that most of us can do, but some of us can't, right? Or are having now challenges with doing that. So aging doesn't make you fall. That is what I want you to kind of take away on this first myth. Inactivity and lack of strength do. Okay, those are the two things that make you fall. All right, so let me know in the comments if you are a good believer that you need strength, right? And that it's possible at any age. Let's see. Okay, put it down in there. I also want to know, has anybody ever fallen, right? Let me know if that's ever happened to you, because it's clearly happened to me. All right, so myth number 2 is if I fall, I'll just get up like I always have. I mean, you know. And this one is a little bit different for me, right? It kind of hits a little different because when we fall, especially in public, right, we don't think about safety first. We really, really don't. And I can tell you, I know at least 5 people here in this group that have fallen and have told me the stories about their falls, and that safety was not on the top of the list, right? The first thing that you think about is embarrassment. That is the first thing. And let me tell you, the embarrassment is like the worst, right? Because you're like, oh my gosh, they just saw me. I felt like an idiot. And now, oh my gosh, like, what are they going to think about me? I don't know, like a million things go through here, but you're embarrassed. You're just embarrassed. And we as women, we don't want to make a scene. We don't want anybody to be like all getting excited about it. And we don't want to ask for help, of course, because we're women. And so we like rush to get up because it's so embarrassing. Like you want to just forget about it. And we get up so fast, even if your body isn't ready for that, right? It's like you didn't even check if anything was broken. You didn't even check like if you hit your head, if you have any scrapes. You're just like, okay, yeah, so okay, let's keep going. Yeah, I'm fine. I don't mean, yeah, I'm good. Right? But here's the truth that none of you are really talking about. Okay? And it's many serious injuries happen after the fall. Okay? If you've ever fallen and had a really serious fall, that's where the injuries kind of come in, right? When someone tries to get up the wrong way, if they went down and they tried to stop the fall in a certain way, right? That's kind of where the serious injuries happen, right? Or let's say they hit their head. They didn't realize that they hit their head, right? Until later on when they have like a headache going on. They're like, what happened? Okay. And here's the harder question is, what if you can't get up? Okay. And, I guess I'm going to say that as a paralegal, I was a paralegal for many years. And my specialty towards the end of my career was trust and estates. So I worked a lot with older people, right? Especially in the estate planning part. And so I guess what has kind of gotten me to this point is that I am very comfortable with just talking about the truths about getting older, right? And so that's what makes me comfortable enough to kind of put it out there to you to say, what if you can't get up, right? Because there's a lot of what ifs at this point, at this season in our life, right? So knowing how to get up safely and having the strength to do it is a skill. It's a skill. It's not something that like you've probably been doing it all your life, but then when you don't have to do it as often, you kind of like forget how to do it. Okay. And luckily skills can be trained. You can learn a skill, you can relearn a skill, right? And this is why getting down and up from the floor isn't optional. It's super essential for you. Okay, so I know right now you're listening to me, and those of you that have really sensitive knees, you're like probably shutting this off, probably, rolling your eyes or whatever it is. I get you. I understand your situations. But I do have to tell you that this is important for you. Okay. And there are ways, there's different ways of getting down and up from the floor. It's just, again, it's a skill, and maybe it's a new skill that you have to develop at this point. So I want you all to be honest and tell me in the comments, like, when was the last time that you practiced getting down to the floor and back up? Like, be honest. Let me know when the last time that was, because I'm going to tell you another funny story. So, I think it was last week or earlier I think it was last week. So, one of my students told me about the New York Times article that I had referred to in my post. And we were talking about getting down on the floor and getting up from the floor. And she was showing me how she was doing this. And I had another student that I've known for, it's going to be 14 years already. And she's in her 80s. And she said, I never really have to get down on the floor. And so I don't know, like, I really haven't done that in a long time. I said, well, now I mean, we were going through it, different ways of doing that. And she said, oh, very interesting. We left the conversation like that. And then, like, this week, she said to me, I have to tell you what happened. I was not feeling well. And so I got into this like coughing fit, and I coughed so hard that I fell. Right. And she's like, I'm on the ground and I'm kind of like out of sorts a little bit. I didn't hurt myself, but I was just like, and I'm like, yeah, that's what happens when you fall. You're like, did I just actually fall? Right. Now, the not the funny part, but the interesting part is her son was sleeping in his room and wasn't even aware that this happened. Okay. And so the first thing she thought was of the conversation that she remembered, because it was like recent, right? And so she used those skills to get up, which were different from the way she used to get up years and years and years ago. Okay, so she said to me, Catherine, I'm so glad that we had that conversation. It's like so weird, but I'm glad that I had that conversation with you, because I would have tried to get up the other way and there would be no way that I would have been able to do that. So all this to say to you that it's a skill that you have to practice. And it's not about you doing it every day. So some of you, I know, avoid classes where you have to get down on the floor and you have to get up, right? Especially like yoga classes have a lot of that. Pilates classes have a lot of that. And so you kind of avoid it altogether. And the thing is not to overdo it. You don't have to be doing it every single day. You don't have to do 2 reps of it or anything like that, but it is a skill that you do need to practice. Okay, so let me know in the comments. I want to know. Oh, Joan, especially from you. Joan is in her 90s. So Joan, when was the last time you practiced that? I'm very interested to know that. All right, so myth number 3 is going to be avoiding movement will keep me safe. Okay, so you have people on 2 ends. You have people that, ladies specifically, that are like, I'm gonna, practice getting up and down from the floor. I'm gonna do all of my strength stuff, and here. And then you have people at the other end that are like, absolutely, I am not doing anything. And that's how I'm going to be safe. If I don't do it, then I can't fall, right? If I don't do it, then if I avoid that altogether, then I won't get injured. Okay, and this is the kind of sad one for me, right? Because I hear it a lot. I hear women say, I don't do that class anymore because something having to do with the floor. Literally, it's always something. Oh, that teacher, she took out the mat and then she had us going down on the floor and getting up from the floor. Okay, that's one thing I hear. I also hear, I'm afraid of falling, or I don't go on the floor. I get this a lot. I don't, is this going to require a mat? Because I don't do that. Okay, right? Or I don't really walk a lot, so I'm not gonna fall. I don't have to do anything, right? But avoiding the movement doesn't prevent falls. It actually increases the risk. Okay, when you stop moving, your muscles go into like chill mode. Okay, they start to chill out so much that they get weak. Okay, your balance then starts to decline as well, because if your muscles aren't strong enough to keep your body where it needs to be, then your balance is going to be off, right? And your confidence is going to go down, and that's when fear takes over. Okay, and fear is a powerful thing. Fear is super powerful. It changes how you walk, it changes how you move, and it changes how you live. Okay, I don't know about you, but have you ever seen like someone that a lady that walks like teeny tiny little steps, right? Most of the time it's because they're fearful of making a bigger move and falling, right? Or women that don't really move a lot, right? Laterally, especially from side to side. It's that fear. Maybe they've fallen already in the past, or they're just afraid that they might, right? And how you live, not doing things in your own household because you're afraid of falling. Okay, this is a real thing. And if you haven't gotten there yet, good, like great, I'm glad. But it is something that you have to, again, it's a skill that you have to practice. I don't care how old you are, it's a skill that you have to practice. Okay, the safest women that I know aren't the ones who sit more. Okay, it's the ones who are training smart, the ones who are moving with intention, and the ones who build confidence. Okay, those are the ladies that I know that are safe. Okay, anybody else I'm worried about. Okay, all right, so let me check here. Oh, Barbara, hey, thank you for coming on in. All right, so and Diane. So the question was, just so that you all know, is have you practiced getting up? When was the last time you practiced getting up, getting down and up from the floor? That was the question. That's going to be my question of the day tomorrow. I'm just going to post it out there. But yeah, so we went through the myths. Okay, if you came in a little late, you can definitely start the video over. But I want you to hear this super clearly. The goal isn't to never fall. Okay, especially I can tell you that as a dancer, we were always afraid of falling. If we're up in the air, someone's holding us, we're depending on somebody else to keep us safe, right? If we're leaping, right? But the reality of it is you may fall, right? And so the goal isn't to never fall. Where I'm not saying that it's never gonna happen. It's just the goal is gonna be to reduce the risk. Okay, reduce the risk, build the strength, build the balance, and to know how to recover from the fall so that you then trust your body again, right? And you feel more confident that way. And just as important is to know that if you do need help, asking for help doesn't mean that you're a weak person. It's you being smart about it. Okay. And this kind of happens all the time. I'm looking because I can see that my computer's gonna die, I believe. So what I want you to know is that if at any point on this you were like, yes, I need to work on that, or maybe it's something that I need to think about. Okay, of course, you don't have to figure it out alone. I have programs that are designed specifically for women over 55 that focus on balance, strength, and confidence. That's why when you see my clients, they're not worried about that, right? They are looking good, number one. They are lean, they are strong, and they are confident, right? Because they know they're prepared, right? So that's what my programs are delivering for these women, and I know that it can work for all of you. So just type strong in the comments if that's something that you want to kind of, have a conversation about, to see if that's something that would work for you or, in your situation. So just type strong in the comments below. And that is it for me. So I'm very interested to see your comments to everything that I've presented tonight. And with that, I will say good night. Bye, everybody.